All right. Good morning, World Wide Web. Welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage. As always, Adam Smith with the Just the Tips coaching, and it must be Monday. And with us again, as always, is our marketing director, Jen Waybower. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
And our guest this week, I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this episode as we've been promoting it. But we have with us the CEO of Homebot, Ernie Graham. Good morning, Ernie.
Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Jen.
But we're pretty excited to have you here. This is a fairly significant departure from our normal MO, where we would have a guest that is really on fire about their lead generation type of stuff, which is what Just the Tips focuses on. And it's typically a loan originator or a real estate agent or even somebody in the social media world. But Ernie, your entire focus, your entire world circumnavigates around a singular, ridiculously successful lead generation tactic for loan originators and real estate agents, and that's Homebot. So tell us about Homebot. In fact, even better, tell us how you started Homebot.
So that's a 2-hour story, and I'll condense it to 1 minute.
Okay.
So I've always been a tech guy, and I tripped and fell into real estate many years ago, and a 1-year sabbatical of tech turned into a 10-year real estate career for me. So when I came back to the tech world, I came back reincarnated as a real estate tech guy. Now, when I was in real estate, I was a top producing agent, a managing broker, and an MLS director, and I was like, full on real estate guy and done a lot of transactions. But when I came back to tech, and I realized I had all these cool ideas and all, to help solve for all the bodies that were buried in real estate, process, lead gen, you name, marketing, retention. And so I started a company actually in 2010 that Realtor.com purchased. And so me and the Homebot co-founder, Ira McMahon, we actually worked at Realtor.com for about 3.5 years. And what we did, we actually integrated the tech that we were building at the time, which connects real estate agents and consumers. But then Realtor.com had us run all of their research and development for 3 years because they were getting their butts kicked by Zillow. And they wanted to better understand how to, and the word at the time was delight the consumer. And here's what happened. We became very versed in the dark art of lead gen over many years. We became very versed in what the serotonin and the dopamine release that Zillow was figuring out with hundreds of millions of consumers. We learned all that. We lived all that. We did a ton of millions of dollars of research and development. A lot of the development, 90% of which the world will never see. But here's what happened. We started to think, this is Ira and I, we started to think about all of this money that was pouring in to capture eyeballs. And we thought it was, I remember reading a stat one day, or imputing a stat, that the average American retires on home equity. Like 83% of their retirements come from home equity. I remember, and it was really a simple thing. It was just taking the U.S. Census Bureau average amount of retirement divided by the average equity, and then everybody sent a lot of reports. It's a lot. It may not be 83, but it's a lot. People are retiring on home equity. And I remember looking at Ira and saying, man, how silly is this? That all of these gajillions of dollars in data science and smart people, for all, their highest and best use is a serotonin release, is to just simply entertain the homeowner. And then as opposed to, surely we can create content, we can create something that had intrinsic value to help them see their home as an asset, understand it as an asset, how to save money, how to build wealth. I mean, this is the biggest asset most will ever own. So, we started talking smack, And then it wasn't very long before we said, maybe it's time to leave Realtor.com. On the heels of Realtor.com being acquired by another big fish called News Corp, a media company, right? This whole industry has turned into media. And I don't have anything against it, but to answer your question, we started Homebot because we suspected that we could create content, a wealth management perspective for the little guy, the homeowner, and and as it turns out, we did create that, and it was a confluence of a lot of world events. Coming off of a Great Recession, coming off of a housing crisis, where all these people who got whacked by sitting around expecting markets to just sort of take care of themselves, and then what we did is we intersected with a population of people that wanted to be empowered, wanted to know what the heck was going on and be able to take action to protect their wealth, to grow their wealth, to understand their wealth. And so that's how Homebot was born.
And how does the consumer get that data today?
You mean just in general?
Yeah, well, I mean, how does the consumer get Homebot data?
So actually, this was a big decision that we made at the time too. We started in 2015 as we were doing all this pilot work with this. We call it the financial dashboard for the home. We always asked the consumers that we were piloting with, mostly in the Denver metropolitan market, a lot of pizza, a lot of beer, a lot of napkins, a lot of whiteboards. But we always asked them, I said, if this thing existed, where would you want to get it from? And we were really shocked insofar that 98% of the respondents always said the lender or a real estate agent or both. And so our business model was born out of the consumer saying that this is personal, it feels personal, it is personal, and they want to work with someone they've already worked with before. So the way the consumer gets Homebot today is through a lender, through a broker. And the homeowner can't just wake up and say, I'm going to go get me a Homebot. They have to get it from a broker, a lender. They have to get, or they can get it from a real estate agent who's partnered with a lender as well.
Okay. Very interesting stuff. So the majority of the sourcing of the data coming from Homebot to the consumer is through the mortgage channel, through their mortgage broker, their mortgage originator, their mortgage banker. I don't want to get into a broker versus banker debate by any means. That's certainly not what we're here for. So this has really been designed from both ends. One, to certainly be providing the consumer with the data, and I don't want to pull any punches or mislead our audience in any way. I'm a Homebot user. I'm a significant Homebot advocate. I actually have been to the Homebot offices. I've spoken on Homebot at mortgage conferences. I don't want to, pull the wool over anyone's eyes here. I'm a big fan of this. Not only from the consumer aspect, because I want to see all that data about my real estate, what it's worth, how much equity is in it, what I could be doing with that equity, and we'll get into some of those finer details. And Jen will certainly put the data on how to sign up for Homebot in the chat for our live show here. But there's also a significant piece of this puzzle when it comes to the mortgage lender, the real estate agent, from a lead gen perspective, from a lead generation perspective. Where does this focus on, where did it change for your focus to be on the greater good of the consumer audience, which it certainly is, to also being this great lead gen platform for agents and originators?
So, it was interesting because, we wanted to our why, and it started this way, is like we felt like that we could really make a difference for all these homeowners. And then the question was, well, how do we actually get this technology into their hands? So when they told us that, when the homeowner said they want to work with a lender, that's where we decided, hey, when we go to market, we're only going to, actually we started by piloting our product with lenders. And it was really interesting to see how that sort of evolved for us. So from the very beginning, we piloted with lenders and we piloted with real estate agents. And it was so it was such a seismic event with the 20 loan officers that we piloted with in the very beginning. They only put like 20, 25 clients into the Homebot platform, and their phone started to ring. They started to get the refis and the purchases and the referrals from such a small database. And so, when you say lead gen, I would say, you say tomato, I say tomato. When you say lead gen, in so many ways, all of these leads are actually already in your database, right? These are past clients. But there's also leads to be generated from your past clients referring somebody to you as well. And so from the very beginning, we looked at it as a way that if a lender believed what we believed, which was empowering the consumer to save money and build wealth was good for business, then we would have a good business relationship with lenders. If empowering that end user was a good idea for them, then it was going to be a good idea for us to do business together. So really the iteration around involving real estate agents actually was secondary. That's the part that was really secondary. That was a result of our lender customers coming to us and saying, hey, the elephant in the room is these real estate agents. I'm trying to get, I'm showing off. I'm showing them my Homebot and why they should be doing business with me. But, they're coming back to me and saying, hey, I want to use Homebot for myself on my own database because I suck at, nurture and client retention too. And that was actually how the agent piece was born. That we said, okay, well then let's create a version of Homebot for agents, but let's still put it in this dichotomy where they have to be partnered with the lender.
Okay. So during the pilot program, we're talking about 20 loan originators putting 20 people into their system, several hundred Homebot users. How many are there today?
About 2.5 million.
2.5 million from several hundred over the course of that. That's really cool stuff.
So, actually, here's a great stat. When we first started, it took us 6 months, like the fall of 2016 through the spring of 2017. No joke. It took us 6 months to get 20,000 consumers on the platform for this enterprise lending. 6 months. We will add 20,000 in less than 6 days now. This week we'll add 50,000. It's just unbelievable how fast, our customers are loading up their clients because they know it's a first strike. I joke about it. I say it's the Homebot strategy is Ricky Bobby. You're either first or you're last. And so our customers have figured out that you really want to carpet bomb your markets because once somebody has Homebot with you, there's no reason for them to want Homebot with anybody else. You got them.
Oh, that's interesting. There's a lot of valuable information in there. So if I'm a loan originator or a real estate agent, and hey, I actually am a loan originator, I would want to sign up with Homebot sooner rather than later. I would want to get my database over to Homebot, and let's talk about that next, sooner rather than later, because in addition to there being 50,000 new Homebot users every week, how many new Homebot customers are there every week?
Hundreds.
Yeah, and there's a good chance that every one of you watching has one that's going to sign up in your market today. Okay? And tomorrow, and the next day, and next week, and next month. So I do like the Ricky Bobby philosophy there.
Hey, Adam, you'll get a kick out of this. So one of our sales guys was in Reno, Nevada a few weeks ago and gave a presentation to a bunch of real estate agents and as a startup or early stage company, we're always trying to puff up to maybe look bigger than we really are. And now that we're in the millions, I love the question. It's like, oh, we're 2.5 million. So, a couple, a few weeks ago, he was saying, oh yeah, we're over 2 million. And everybody's like, oh, cool, cool, cool. Then after the meeting, the owner of the brokerage called me up and said, hey, when your guy said 2 it's working. They're like, no, they feel like they missed the boat. And I was like, oh no, oh no. So let's put it this way: if you're in the Denver market, 4 out of 10 homeowners are already on Homebot, which means
Forty
if you're not,
percent of the homeowners in Denver. Wow.
yeah. So if you don't have your database on, statistically speaking, 40% of your database is already on it, and it doesn't mean that you can't get them to switch, but it's hard. But the bigger idea here is that Denver is where we have been for 3 years. And of course, it goes like this, and then like this. Hockey sticks up. And so we've been doing this in like the 25 major markets across the United States. But now we're starting to see that right now. But as a practical measure in your market, if you're in one of the 25 top markets in the U.S. as a broker, we're going to have less than 5% of the market, which means it's wide open. It's not going to stay that way, which means it's wide open right now. And you're right. It is I'm a sales guy. I'm trying to create, the impending doom, but the best stories are true stories. And the true story is if you're sitting in Salt Lake City and you're not carpet bombing with your own database, and then you're crazy, because once somebody else gets your client on this platform, it's sort of good news, bad news. The good news is that the platform is extremely sticky. The bad news is the platform is extremely sticky.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I think that that's kind of an important piece of the puzzle when it comes to lead gen activities, period. And we try to emphasize how important client retention is and client referral business. The goal is for everyone that's ever been through or is going through or is going to go through the Just the Tips coaching platform is that they're going to build a strict repeat and referral business, and that the majority of that referral business is going to be past client referrals. I really think that that's a very important piece of the puzzle where we're not relying on other people. As a loan originator, if I'm working with a handful of real estate agents, and that's a major piece of where my business comes from, and one of them decides to retire, and one of them gets out of the business, and the other one goes on vacation for a month, and the other one just sucks at their lead generation activities, now it's made an enormous impact on my business that I can't tolerate. So my business needs to be mine. It needs to be self-sourced. It needs to be consumer-driven. It needs to be past client referral-driven. And Homebot just plugs into that so beautifully that I don't think there's ever been a better tool out there for somebody who's looking to build a strict repeat and referral business, mortgage originator, real estate agent, or otherwise. I do think that for the tech, for the data, for all of the things, I haven't even mentioned the fact that it's way, way affordable. I do think that Homebot provides an avenue, a technological, automated avenue that really fits in tune with what you guys need to be doing in order to build and maintain a repeat and referral business. All right, so Ernie, I want to be a Homebot customer. I've got this sporadic database, if we can even call it that, because that's how most of our coaching clients come to us. I've got, hundreds of contacts in my phone. I've got a spreadsheet of hundreds more, and I'm kind of using my company's CRM. There's, 100 people in there. What do I need to do with all this data in order to, post becoming a Homebot customer, what do I need to do with all this data in order to start really making Homebot work for me?
Sure. Actually, this may sound like a really straightforward question and answer, but I'll go ahead and share with you. It also represents the biggest mistake that our customers make, our new customers make. It's the absolute biggest mistake. And let me explain that. So we'll have a customer who comes on the system, and then they'll say, oh, I've got, let's say, a little bit of this database I've exported out of my Encompass loan origination, or whatever LOS. And this data is all clean, and it's pure, and I've checked it, and I've rechecked it, and I know these people. And I'm going to take just this data, and I'm going to email it CSV, like a CSV file, to my Homebot representative. And by the way, our sort of technology perspective on this is that all import wizards suck. They're hard to use, and and if you're a lender, your job isn't to have your fingers on a keyboard figuring out technology. Your job is to be closing deals. So we don't even have like an import wizard, if you will. We just say email that CSV to our customer service rep, and they will ingest that data for you. So that's part A. And people do a reasonably good job of this, but there's where they totally screw up. All that stuff that's on their phone, all that stuff within the CRM, all of those contacts that aren't, even clients, maybe they're just pre-quals, so they don't own a home, so they don't have a home address, or that database, that Excel worksheet that's been lingering around on your external drive for the last 3 years that you haven't looked at, that all of that stuff needs to go into Homebot. That means that you export the CSV, you don't get heady about it, you just email it to the customer support rep and have them ingest that into your Homebot account. Homebot actually has a tremendous amount of technology to clean up email addresses, to clean up the data, to add figure out if the home address is right, I'm just saying that all of that is sort of built in. I call it the big red easy button. But the mistake to sort of crystallize on this is that people think that's like, oh, I'm only going to put the pure data that I've reviewed into my Homebot account. And all we say is, no. And everywhere where you have data where you can convert it to CSV, you take that, email it, and we'll ingest it. And that's sort of, I don't think we do a great job of letting people know just how sophisticated our platforms are for scrubbing your data. But they're pretty good. And the point is that if this is a first strike type of thing, how crazy is it that you finally get over the hump and say, okay, I got my Homebot account, and I only put 20 people in it. It's like, no. Just dump it all, whether they're homeowners or buyers or pre-quals that never closed. And here's another good one. We'll have people say, I got a database of people that are like 5 to 10 years old. I'm thinking I absolutely don't want to put those people in. And we're like, are you crazy? That's where we see some of the most intense results, or where someone you haven't talked to for 5 years, and then you say, here's some really valuable information to help you see your home as an asset, to save money, to build wealth. So, it's like intrinsic value. And we see emails from our customers that are forwarded on to us that they got from their clients saying, wow, I haven't talked in such a long time. I've actually been using another lender, but yet you're going to give this to me anyway? How cool is that? And by the way, that's a whole other thing where it's like, oh, well, my client, I did the purchase loan, but I already know they refunded somebody else a couple of years ago. I'm not going to send this to them. They're like, are you crazy? It's like, those are exactly the people that you want to be benevolent with, because it actually feels even more pure. Because they're like, oh, I already left you and you're still going to help me out? And you're like, yeah. But of course, the dirty little secret is it's pretty sticky. So they're going to use it, and they're going to use it, and then ultimately their lender is going to say, hey, don't be using Adam's Homebot. You should be using my Homebot. Oh yeah, but Adam, I've known Adam for 7 years. He just gave me this thing. So does that make sense though? About just get the darn data by hook or by crook. Get it in your account.
Which really means get it to you. And you guys are able to clean up and disseminate and fine-tune that data in a manner that would take us hours upon hours to do. It's mind-boggling how much work would have to go in on our end. And we're really good about our data. We think, database number one in our office. So yeah, the average user, I just can't imagine what kind of time frame they would have to suffer with in order to do what Homebot can do almost automatically. It's amazing.
Yeah. Big
All
red
right.
easy. Again, we think about it. Big red easy button. Our customers should not be jacking around the technology. They should be answering the phone and closing the accounts.
All right, so let's talk about that with the last couple of minutes that we've got here. I'm a Homebot user. I've got my database into you. These people are getting this data on a regular basis, I believe monthly, if I'm not mistaken. And what should I be doing? How am I, as the real estate agent or the loan originator, able to take advantage of what's going out from Homebot to my client database?
Sure. So it's interesting, Adam. I mean, when you use Homebot, all of your Homebot's creating this portal for all of your clients. We call it a client for life portal now, and basically that means that any of your clients can go to their portal anytime. So when you say monthly, what we're doing is we're just sending out an email on your behalf to all your clients just to notify them that, hey, it's been maybe a month since they visited their portal and they can go visit their portal. So with that context, there's three things. Three biggies. Number one, answer the damn phone. So that means that, and you know how this works, is that you have people that are asking for value, for people to, from their value, are asking questions about refi. All of the engagement that's just happening, that's coming your way. And I don't want to get too fancy with this, but the first things first. If any of your past database is emailing you or direct messaging you or calling you about Homebot, you've got to answer that phone. You've got to, and even when you look at the screen and say, oh, they're at 3 and an 8, there's no refi opportunity here. It's like, yeah, but there's a reason they're calling. And what you were talking about earlier as it relates to repeat and referral business and being the master of your own domain when it comes to deal flow and business, that your opportunity as a human to engage with these other humans, that's the prize. Of course, the transactions will flow off of that, but so what that you contact and you start talking to somebody that there's no ability for you to make money on them today? You're basically re-energizing them as someone in your sphere who's going to refer you. Because I'll tell you right now, your name and contact information and your brand, your two-dimensional brand, it's not good enough for me to refer you a year or two after the deal. The halo effect, the honeymoon is over. Sure, I remember your name, but that's not, I love you, Adam, but that's not good enough for me to go interrupt this conversation over here that I just overheard at a dinner party where someone talked about needing a lender. It's not good enough for me to interrupt them. However, if you just called me yesterday because I inquired about how I might be able to save some interest with principal payments off of Homebot, that now re-energizes me as a referral source for you. So tip number one, answer the darn phone, engage, 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 be a human. Number two, and here's the advanced. The advanced top producers with Homebot, of course, you know, they always say, hey, Ernie, I didn't get to be a top producer sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. So what do? They actually, we have like a NASDAQ ticker for them so they can see who's engaging with Homebot when. So if they have 1 hour a week, 2 hours a week, random 1 hour, they look at that list, who's been in Homebot in the last 24 hours, pick up the phone and call. Pick up the phone and call. And then number three is real estate agents. You mentioned it earlier. Now Homebot, the pro version of Homebot has freemium. So now you can go out and cast a net over hundreds or thousands of real estate agents for free. And basically what you're really doing is you're casting a net over their databases. To basically do number one and number two, which is to get out in front there and create some engagement.
And we figured that was going to be the case. Jen, would you make sure to get Ernie booked for another episode so we can delve more into this? And Ernie, I want you to know, and actually I want the entire audience to know, I leave that activity feed ticker open if I'm on the computer, period. I guarantee you it is open right now. Just constantly watching who's involved. Somebody opened the email 32 times. I think that's hilarious. But yeah.
You remember Alec Baldwin and Glenn Ross?
Sure.
All the famous quotes, always be closing, all that stuff. There's one quote that's not famous, but very powerful. When Alec Baldwin looks at all the salespeople and says, "The guy doesn't walk on the lot lest he wants to buy." Meaning that you're looking at a ticker and you're watching people walk on the lot. So it doesn't really matter what their rate is. It really doesn't matter. They're walking on the lot. There's something for you to do with them, either help generate a refi or purchase transaction, or God forbid, you activate them as a referral source for you because you've made a human connection.
Indeed. All right, well, I see Jen already posted the data about Homebot in the chat for our event here. And again, Ernie, thank you so much for joining us. I know that we've been waiting on this for a while. We've been waiting on this longer than I've been as big an advocate as I have. I think we booked this last fall, shortly after you and I were in Vegas and then San Diego together. And we've obviously become much more staunch Homebot supporters since then, even to the tune of speaking on Homebot's behalf at different events since. So yeah, we're obviously big supporters. We're certainly going to get into more nitty gritty the next time we are able to tie you down for an episode of the show. But yeah, for all of you watching, I cannot emphasize enough what a great tool this is, not only for lead generation activities, but for the type of specific lead generation activities that are going to enable you to get to a place where your business is strictly repeat and referral, and where that referral business is client referrals, which I think are just two giant orbs floating out there in the lead gen world for everybody who's got a direct-to-consumer sales type gig. That's the goal. That's where you want to be, is to have a strict repeat and referral business. You're not buying any leads. You're not sending out mailers. You're not wasting money on postcards or whatever the case may be. And this is a big piece of that puzzle if you guys do take solid advantage of it. And like both Ernie and Ricky Bobby said, now. Do it now. Don't wait. You're either first or you're last. All right. So, Ernie, thank you for joining us. Jen, you're a Homebot expert as well. You do a lot of this interface for our mortgage company. Is there anything you want to pepper Ernie with, or anything you think we're missing short of more finite detail in a future episode?
I think it's such an easy way to show your clients that you care, because it's free for them, but they know it's not free for you, and it's such an easy way to stay top of mind. Every month your name's popping into their email. I signed myself up. We didn't even touch on the buyer side of it. So I get an email that says it's from Adam every month about the homes in my area that are for sale. So it's just such an easy way to extend that relationship beyond just one transaction, and you're not personally having to stay on top of it every day, but they can.
I think one thing I do want to throw in that's timely right now too. We saw this happen last year to when purchase season hit and rates went low. People were going, and it's like, it's too late to market, right? It's like, you just have to make hay while the sun shines. And, with rates low again and entering purchase season again, I think everybody's really got to ask themselves, it's like, how are they going to make more hay while the sun shines this time? And the way I think about this is, you want the people who are ready to refi, you want them calling you. You want your phone ringing. So you do your purchase thing, purchase. You get all that refi is the grading that comes in without you having to take any special initiatives to market to any, to the what's going on with rates. And so anyway, I'm really excited for the industry here over the next 6 months in terms of being able to do some great business.
Good. Well, Ernie, thank you again for joining us. For those of you watching, if you want more information about us, about Homebot, about Ernie, about Jen, then by all means use our text code scrolling across the bottom of your screen there. You can text tips to 63566, and it'll ping you back all kinds of good information. Ernie, thank you for joining us. I know you're a busy guy.
Thank you, Jen.
I appreciate the time. And we will see all of you next week. You guys have a good one.